Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you a recent reads video. First off, to give you guys a bit of an update on my channel and how I'm going to be changing things over the next couple of months, trying out something new. So for the next few months at least, I'm doing away with the weekly-ish reading vlogs. And instead, I'm going to be filming recent reads videos. I am aiming to film them on a weekly-ish basis, but I don't want to call them a weekly update so that I've got a bit more flexibility in when I film them and can stretch it out a bit longer if I feel like I need to or whatever. So I'm going to film recent reads videos throughout the month. I am at the end of the month still going to film a monthly wrap-up, but it's going to be a bit more of a shorter, succinct kind of wrap up where I just talk about my statistics and go through all of the books that I read that month and just give you my star rating without any real thoughts. But I am going to go through the books, I think, from my least favorite to my most favorite, so you guys will get an idea of what books I enjoy kind of on a scale, which I think will be fun. I am going to film a monthly vlog, but instead of it being a vlog where I talk a lot about what I'm reading, it's going to be a bit more of a lifestyle type vlog. I'm going to see how I go with a bit more like montagey type clips with the occasional talking clip and have that be for the whole month. And then, you know, at the end of the month post that with the recent reads videos and the monthly wrap up and see how I go, whether I like that style of doing things. So please do feel free to leave me feedback down below if you prefer this style or if you prefer me to stick to the weekly vlogs. I feel like this will allow me to do some shorter videos and not always have really long videos. Also, the vlogs do take an insanely long time to edit, so that will be great to not have to deal with that anymore, not only kind of deal with the one vlog for the whole month. But if you guys do have any feedback, I'd be more than willing to hear it. So in this video, we are going to talk about all of the books that I've read so far in May. It is the 11th of May today when I'm filming this, and I have so far read 10 books this month. So let's jump straight in and talk about all of those books and my thoughts on them. The first book that I finished this month was Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trisha Levenseller. So this is the second in the duology, the sequel to Daughter of the Pirate King, which follows a main character named Alosa, who is the daughter of a pirate king. And basically in that first book, she gets purposely captured by like a rival pirate ship because she's got, you know, plans of her own, and it all kind of goes from there. Alosa is a very kind of badass female character, but the thing that I really love about her is that she is shown to be a badass character. It's not just told to you without ever really it being shown to you. She kills people a lot in this duology, so I like that it was backed up by actions and not just something that's told to you without it ever really being evidenced in the story. So I really liked that. I should mention as well that it was narrated by Marissa Caitlin. So I actually enjoyed this book a little bit more even than I liked the first book. We get way more of the kind of gang of female pirates, which was kind of touched on in the first book, but we didn't see a whole lot of it. And in this book, we get a lot of that, which I really, really, really liked. I liked the romance. I think Alosa got even more badass in this one. I did really enjoy the duology as a whole, and I gave that one 3.75 stars. I then read The Calling by Kate Tiernan, which is the first book in this bind-up, which is the third bind-up overall, making this book 7. In the series. These books are all really short. They're only like 180 to 190 pages each. And this is a YA paranormal series about a girl discovering Wicca and witchcraft and all of that type of thing. So it does have a lot in it about Wicca, like the general, like real life Wiccan religion, but it is like tied in with actual, like, you know, more witchcrafty than what it would be in real life. This is the 7th book. I can't really talk to you guys too much about it. There's a kind of character introduced in this one that I thought was interesting. And there was a kind of twist towards the end of this that not like a twist, but something happened that I didn't, like you find out something that I didn't expect, which I liked because I'm rarely shocked by books. So in the end, I gave that one 3.5 stars. I then listened to another audiobook, which was The Boy at the Keyhole by Stephen Giles. So this is a gothic story about a boy who's about 11 or 12 years old, and he lives in a house with his mother and a housekeeper. And one morning he wakes up and is told that his mother has had to urgently go, they're in the UK, and his mother has had to go to the US on some kind of business. And he's left in the care of the housekeeper. Now he has a very kind of interesting relationship with the housekeeper. She's very stern, very strict and disciplined, bordering on abusive at times, but they have a very up and down kind of relationship. And as the story goes on, the little boy is starting to wonder whether his mother really did go away on business or whether the housekeeper has done something to her. I'm not actually sure what the target audience is for this book. It's not shelved on Goodreads as YA or middle grade or anything like that. The boy is 11 or 12 years old, but it's very dark. Like, it would not be for middle grade readers. I think it's an adult book, but it is quite short. Like, it's only like less than 300 pages. Like, the audiobook's only like 5 or 6 hours, something like that. I actually really enjoyed this. The story leaves you, while you're kind of sure what you think, or at least I was, I kept being like, I'm pretty sure this is what it is. It did keep me questioning at different times. I'd be like, but wait, did she do something? Or is it like, you're going back and forth the whole time because there was so much, you know, you're hearing from it from this perspective of a boy, and you're just like, is he paranoid? Has he got an overactive imagination? Or is this housekeeper done something bad? It is like very gothic, which I really, really liked. I liked the whole vibe of it, and not being sure. The ending is pretty dark, and I really liked the ending of it. In the end, I really enjoyed this book a lot more than I expected to, and I gave it 4 stars. I then listened on audio, that was narrated by Kevin Spink. I then listened on audio to One Day in December by Josie Silver, which is narrated by Eleanor Tomlinson and Charlie Anson. So this is a adult romance chick-lit type of novel that went around BookTube quite a lot in December last year, because it is, I guess, centered around that at the start. So this follows a female character who one day is on a bus, and it's around Christmas time, and she makes eye contact through the window of the bus with this guy and instantly feels a connection with him and thinks that he's like the man of her dreams, the man she's going to end up with, so on and so forth. However, the bus pulls away without her getting to speak to him, and she spends a year hoping to run into this man, trying to find him, all of that type of thing. And then one day her best friend and person that she lives with turns up at a Christmas party the next year with her new boyfriend, which happens to be the guy from the bus. The story spans quite a long period of time. It's not over even like a year, it's over years and years. I liked the friendships and stuff in there. I actually really liked the romance. The characters make decisions at times that have you going, don't do that. And maybe I wouldn't do that, but at the same time, I felt like you could see how the characters could end up in a situation where they would make these types of decisions, if you know what I mean. One of the issues that I had is that the main male character, you do get perspectives from both for a good chunk of the book, like particularly in like the middle section. He is a straight up like dick for like a good chunk of it, which like kind of made it hard to like root for a romance when you're thinking like he's just being such a dickhead, like, and I was just thinking that constantly. But for the most part, I really did enjoy this book. I enjoyed the characters. There's a great female friendship in there, which I really liked, and it does span, like I said, quite a lot of years, which I enjoy, getting to see characters develop and change and what goes on in their lives and how they end up in different situations. I really enjoyed that. So in the end, I ended up giving that one 4 stars as well. I then read Blind Tiger by Rachel Vincent. This is the second book in the Wildcats series, which is a spin-off series to the Shifters series. This one is a companion series. Each book follows kind of a different couple, much more romance-based, because you're getting a whole romance within each book, as opposed to the Shifters series where you had a drawn-out romance over 6 books. So I can't talk too much about what's going on in this. You do get kind of an overarching plot across the whole series of like a kind of political nature within the Shifters community, because this is a urban fantasy involving a world where these people can shift into werecats, which are like panther, jaguar, I guess, type creatures, leopard type of creatures, I guess. They're not actually any of those creatures. It's like a specific creature that they are, but it's that type of creature. This one was a bit more insta-lovey, because so far we've always had characters that have known each other for longer, even if they didn't have a romance, whereas this is two characters who have met for the first time in this book, and it's not over that long of a period of time. So this one is a bit more insta-lovey. I did still enjoy it. It's very predictable, but it was enjoyable. I gave it 3.5 stars. I then read Changeling by Kate Tiernan, which is the second book in this bind-up, book 8. Again, I can't really talk too much about what's going on because we're so deep into this series. Like, we're halfway through this series now. There's a lot of relationship drama going on in this one that I just was like, thought was so unnecessary, which I hate when they do that in YA, when you're just like, this is stupid, which is what I felt with a lot of this relationship drama. But I still enjoyed it. I ended up giving this one 3.25 stars. I then listened to another audiobook called The Ones You Trust by Carolyn Overington. So this is a thriller novel. It's actually Australian, which I didn't realize until the audiobook started. It's narrated by Jennifer Volatic. So it's Australian. It follows a woman who is like a host of like a morning talk show type of thing. In Australia, we have like the Today Show and Sunrise, things like that. It's, I think, what's the one in the UK called? Is it This Morning? With like Holly Willoughby and Philip Schofield. Like, it's that type of show, and she's the female presenter from that show. So she's like fairly a celebrity within Australia, although we don't have celebrities on the scale of like Hollywood actors, but a celebrity within Australia. And at the start of the story, her daughter goes missing. And so you've got, it's basically the story of that. I was really disappointed in this. I didn't like the narration. Straight up didn't like the narration. It's an Australian narrator, and you think I wouldn't be bothered by that because I'm Australian, but there's a male character in the story, like the husband of the female character is Texan, and whatever the narrator did the voice for the Texan character, it was so like offensive to my ears. I hated it. And the Australian accent was just, I presume they do it because they're hoping for it to be like fun to an international audience, but it was so over the top. It's kind of the Australian accent that I expect to hear in like someone putting on when they're not Australian. Like the accent was just so over the top for me, and I'm Australian, and I found it like, this is ridiculous. Like, we don't actually talk like that. And I'm pretty sure it was an Australian person doing the narration, but they were just really putting it on, like banging it on, if you know what I mean. For the most part, I just found the story to be boring. It was just kind of boring. There was a twist kind of right at the end that I didn't really see coming, but I didn't care because I just wasn't invested in these characters. The whole situation of like how the child goes missing is so like, I don't have children, but I feel like if you had children, you would be even more just like pissed by like how it all happens, because you're just like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's just bad parenting, kind of. And it's just like, you can kind of like see it's like a collection of circumstances, but it's just so over the top. So I just didn't really connect to the story at all. I ended up giving it 3 stars, which to be honest is probably kind of generous. I then read Murder in the Moobs by Agatha Christie, which is a collection of 4 short stories. The first of them is Murder in the Mews, which I quite enjoyed. I kind of figured out the main part of what was going on in that mystery, which is rare for me with Agatha Christie. It's probably because it was a shorter story, so she had less time to real trick ya, but I did kind of figure out part of it, which I was quite proud of myself for. I enjoyed that one. I gave it 3.75 stars. There was then The Incredible Theft, which had quite a political base to it, which I don't usually enjoy in my mysteries. I gave that 3.25. Dead Man's Mirror, I gave 3.25, and Triangle at Rhodes, I gave 3.25. So I think overall my ratings averaged out to like a 3.38, which I rounded to a 3.25, like within my own personal rating scale. I then read Strife by Kate Tiernan, so the 9th book in this series, the final book in this bind up. So I finished this bind up now. Again, can't really talk too much about what's going on in this one. There's some stuff going on with the character, a newish character at this point, which I'm quite intrigued by. I'm quite enjoying. I kind of think I know where it's going, but I'm intrigued by that storyline within it. But it is a little bit slower. Like, the series is starting to get a little bit slow and a little bit drawn out because like we're 9 books in at this stage. So I enjoyed it still, but I gave that one 3.25. And then the last book that I have for this recent reads is For Better and Worse by Margot Hunt. This is a book that I had from NetGalley. It's a thriller. It's about a couple who, when they were dating, they're both in law school, and they discuss the perfect murder. And it's then years later, like 15 years later, something like that, they've been married for however many years, and a circumstance arises in their life, which I'm not going to say what it is because it is very early in the book, but it's not mentioned in the synopsis, so I don't want to give too much away because I know people like to go into thrillers pretty blind. A situation arises and they feel, or at least one of them feels like they maybe need to put into practice this perfect murder that they talked about. Again, another thriller that I was quite disappointed in. The thing that I didn't enjoy about this one is that the perfect murder that they discuss at the beginning when they're dating, they don't really discuss it. It's said in jest. They just kind of make a few offhand comments. They don't really. I was hoping that we were going to get this whole, this is how I would do it. I would do this and this and this, and get to find like a really interesting plan for a perfect murder. You don't get that. Then when it comes to the part of the story where they want to undertake this murder, the way that it's done, I just found, frankly, freaking ridiculous. I was like, this is the perfect murder. There were so many things done in the course of this murder that I was just like, that is so dumb. Like, I'm not ever planning to murder anyone, want to do the perfect murder, but if I was gonna murder someone, I wouldn't do some of the stupid shit that they do in this book where I was just like, that is so stupid. I then really didn't like the ending either. I wasn't a fan of the way that it all ended. In two aspects, there's kind of two different things kind of that I didn't enjoy in the ending. And then, so I gave this 3 stars, which again might seem fairly generous because as you can tell, I didn't really enjoy it, but it does raise some interesting morality questions around, I mean, I don't ever think it's okay to murder someone, but the questions that it poses because of the circumstance, which again, I won't go into, but you know, you kind of get to that stage where you're like, is it ever acceptable to murder someone? And you can see maybe why the characters choose to go down the path that they do. Maybe. So I kind of liked those questions that it raised, but the whole perfect murder thing was just, that aspect of the story I really didn't enjoy. So like I said, I gave that one 3 stars. So those are all of the books that I have read recently. Just to touch on quickly what I'm like currently reading. So my current physical book is Pride and Prejudice and Zombies by Jane Austen and Seth Grahame-Smith. I'm currently like that far. I've read that part of the way through, so like 2/3 of the way through. I'm honestly not loving this, but I'll get into that in my next recent reads video once I've finished it. I am also listening to an audiobook. It is the weekend. I normally wouldn't have an audiobook, but I've been sick recently, and while this book is quite short and I've managed to listen to chunks of it just while playing games on my phone at home, I didn't finish it before the weekend started, which is frustrating because I have so many books on hold and I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to get to them all, but it is what it is. So that book is Out of the Forest by Gregory Peel. I can't check because it's on my phone. I'm filming on my phone, but this is a non-fiction story. It's Australian. It's about a man basically who had a very terrible upbringing, lots of abuse, things like that. And it's just his life and the life that he falls into. And it deals a lot with like the way it's marketed is that at one point he becomes like a recluse, like hermit, like living in the forest, like he lives in a rainforest for a while, like illegally, just like off the land type of thing. I'm honestly not really enjoying it, but it's not very long. And I've only got, I think I'm like 79% of the way through. So I'm pretty far of the way through, and I've only got like 2 hours left on the audiobook. So when I go back to work on Monday, I'll be able to finish it really quickly, but I don't really know my feelings until we get to the end, and I kind of see maybe the message that the story is supposed to be putting across, but I'm not in love with it so far. So the 2 books I'm currently reading, I'm not super enjoying, but hopefully by the time I check in with you guys with my next recent reads, will have read a lot of books that hopefully I've enjoyed, so I can talk to you about some good books. So that is it for all of my recent reads. This video is a little bit longer than I'm hoping they will typically be because I wanted to give you guys a bit of an update, and this video, the time period of time that I was discussing books for was a little bit longer than I will typically hope to have in these videos, and I had read a bunch, like I've read 10 books, so I had quite a bit to talk to you guys about. So I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below if you've got any thoughts on any of the books that I read, or what you guys have been recently reading. If you've got any feedback, like I said, on this new kind of format of the way I'm like planning to do things, then please feel free to give me that feedback as well. I would love to hear it. So yeah, please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. That is all I have for this video today. Bye guys.